Hi guys, I'm Ben from Out of Lives, and I'm here with another video about Cycle 28. The game is released. You'll have, or you may have seen my beta impressions video that I released a few weeks ago. Got a code from Pillbug Interactive to participate in the beta, and I gave them some feedback. But now the game is out, so let's take a look. I'm not doing a review as such, because I am friends with Mr. David Sousie, one of the developers from Pillbug Interactive, and I don't think it would be fair, you know, bias in games, journalisms, and all that with all the Zs. So we're just going to have a look at the game, show the general gist, the gameplay, and talk a little bit about something I didn't feature in the last video, which was the story element of the game, which is very intriguing, and it is actually sort of a big part of it. As you can see, Cycle 28 is a 2D space shooter, momentum based, so you're using your arrow keys to move forward, to spin around, and I say momentum based because when you shoot, it propels you backwards very slightly. The controls are tight, really tight, so you have this nice balancing act between movement and shooting at the right sort of times. You'll see that I shoot a lot, and there's a couple of reasons for that, which I'll go into in a moment. But this is kind of like the core gameplay. Flying around in space, shooting up these bad boys, building up your score multiplier to increase your score. And you would have seen from the menu that there is a global leaderboard system. So you can compete against your friends, against everybody playing. What you don't want to do is do that. Fly into everybody. Oh dear. You can see there's a lovely aesthetic to me smoking there, as I've taken a lot of damage. I think one of the things that was updated from the beta itself was knowing how much damage you've taken. They've tweaked that animation. And actually, I'll see if I can get it. Hit me. Someone hit me. Boom. Oh, I'm just dead. Fine. I didn't want to be hit that badly, but there we go. One of the things I think they tweaked was the sound effect as well. So you get this beep going on in the background, so you know when you're close to death, and that increases the closer to death, the more that you've been hit. One of the joys of this game is that you are just going currently through cycle 27, and you're just repeating cycle 27 over and over again until you progress through to cycle 28. That part is part of how the story unfolds, and the mystery behind how the story will unfold, which we'll get into in a moment. But you don't need to go into a menu to restart your run. You are just thrown straight back in, so you can die and you can instantly just start your run over again. That's one of the joys of this game, not having to go through a sort of a menu system to be able to get back to things. You know, you have games where that's been implemented sort of well also in things like Hotline Miami, stuff like that. But I'll show you, while I'm on this run, a little bit of the upgrade system. Now, part of the game is to get a better score each time, and as you get a better score each time, you unlock upgrades or abilities. Now, you only get two slots to be able to fill, and I'm running with one of the early upgrades, which is firing 2 forward-facing projectiles in addition to what you're already firing. And the second one is the drone gun. When you fire, there's a chance to spawn a drone. So you'll see that I fire a lot. Increases the amount of bullets that are out there to hit enemies, but also to bring up all of the drones, or increase my drone count, as you were. That basically gives me a nice little shield around to protect me from a few shots. My little drones fire out as well occasionally. But there's different upgrades, things like 360 around the ship, chance of 2 times drones, stuff like that. But we're going to run with what we've currently got, because you may have noticed on that global leaderboard at the beginning, I'm currently 4th, and my best score has been with this set of upgrades. You might find that you play around with it and you prefer different upgrades, and that's perfectly okay. That's why there's an upgrade system. There's lots of choice, different things that you can do. So, as I say, this is kind of the main core gameplay element. You'd have seen in the previous run that something called split popped up with my score, and I'm not sure how that's triggered exactly, but it does does generate a unique enemy, a boss as such, something slightly harder, which gives you, a decent amount of points to be able to rack up whilst you're trying to defeat them. I mean, I can already tell you that I'm not doing too well on this run. It's slightly hard to... I'm exploding. It's slightly hard to play and talk to you about the game. Not too hard. Really, I shouldn't be shooting here. I'm smoking. There's that beeping in the background to tell me that I'm close to death. To stop being close to death and regenerate, to stop smoking, I just need to stop firing and not get hit. So you can see why I moved away there. Oh, there you go. There's a split. Split number 1. So at some point we may see a more unique enemy. There's a nice variety of ships. You've seen these sort of smaller ships. These guys just here, who come around a lot. They got a sort of single shot that kind of tracks you or follows you around. You then have the big drone ships, which fire out all of their little drones. They don't fire themselves. They just send the drones out after you. They're nice. They give you a decent amount of points, and they're a really good way to increase your multiplier by taking out as many drones as possible. But you've then got little upgrades to these ships. So these guys that have got 2 cannons on them. You've got those guys that are sort of shielding everyone from the front. There's a nice amount of enemies. We still haven't seen that boss enemy, whoever that kind of that split enemy is. He'll be around somewhere. He's around. Perhaps. Let's just give you a little bit more of gameplay before we jump into the story. So there's kind of 2 elements to this game. There's this element, building up your score, playing on the global leaderboards, trying to defeat your friends' scores, and getting better upgrades and increasing in what you're doing and getting better at the game. But there's also the story element. And it's the first game which has actually drawn me to the Discord chats for the game, because a lot of people are sort of collaborating and actually talking about the story, because there's a sense of mystery behind it. Every time you jump back into a new cycle, you get a little bit of text. And when you explore the level, you find that you're actually hemmed in. Let's see if we can find what we're looking for. You also notice that there's this countdown timer up in the top. Ah, boom, there it is. The door. The door. Possibly a door. Possibly a door. No one knows yet. There's lots of speculation. There's lots of chat about what is happening. What's... Ooh, that's a nice boss. There you go. Here's one of the bosses. Lots of cannons. Big hitter. Oh, there's the other boss. They're both here at the same time. Huzzah. Almost like a light wall of a boss. A few cannons. You don't want to fly into him because that will not go well for you. Kind of want him to release some drones so I can build up my multiplier and then be able to get a better score taking down these bosses. So, as I say, if you're playing this game, you kind of want to jump into the Discord to chat with everybody about how you progress through from cycle 27 to cycle 28. There's a few theories. Nothing that's been discovered too much at the moment, or nothing at least that's... How did I know that would happen? Nothing at least that's panned out yet, that anyone's been able to get more of a kind of a grasp on than just sort of initial clues from the flavor text that you see every time that you restart. From some of the flavor text on the menu as well, there's a little bit of backstory that you can find whilst you're sort of floating about the main menu. Just fly straight into him, why don't I? Right. I'm going to try and give you some of the story beats, or at least try and do a run where I can get as far as possible in sort of almost what's known, shall we say. Reaching that wall, reaching that door, trying to get that countdown timer to get down. And if there is something that we need to do before that countdown timer hits 0 to be able to progress through, whether it's getting through that door, whether it's defeating a certain amount of enemies and picking up a certain score, I don't know. I don't think anyone has really got a handle on exactly what needs to happen at the moment. But as I say, jump into that Discord chat because it's very interesting, and it's a very interesting way to kind of approach a game. Bum, that was stupid, just letting myself kind of float back to be hit by that drone there and take down my my 10 times multiplier, which I was doing pretty well with. Let's build it back up. We gotta waste some time. I don't want to go straight to the door and just kind of sit there. That would be a boring video, wouldn't it? You want to see me floating through space, taking out enemies, exactly what the game is built to do, designed to do. So let's try and regenerate slightly through all of these guys. Build up that multiplier. Try and preempt where they're coming from a little bit. You have got these arrows which show you where your closest enemy is, which is always useful if you are sort of lost and kind of just popping around. You see more as your score increases, more enemies kind of are deployed to try and find you. And as I said, that split, I don't know whether it's bum. Right, we'll get it this time. I won't be as reckless. Hopefully I'll get to show you a little bit of what people have discovered so far. So, not by playing like this, I certainly won't. A few tips for the game, I suppose. I always find that maybe my best run comes through on about the 5th or 6th cycle. If I'm going for things like score and trying to build my score up. You know, obviously not while I'm talking, because that's a slight distraction in itself away from the game. I'm thinking about words, having to speak some words. Oh dear. So let's get back into it over here. Here they all are. Here's everybody. I've got a nice multiplier. I want to take this guy down because he's a decent amount of points. And take down all of the littler guys shooting at me. Build myself up. Preempt where he's coming from, possibly. He's gone. He's gone. Yeah. Some tips. So, 5th or 6th round I find for myself is probably one of the best. I would advise maybe having a little break when you notice that you're not doing so well on a run. So say you hit up to a very decent sort of score, say 3.5, 4,500. That was silly. It's a good idea that once you say you have a run that's maybe then 900 after that, that you have maybe a little break. Go make yourself some lunch. Take 20 minutes just to relax, kind of reset yourself, because you'll find that you're getting a little bit maybe frustrated and you're flying into stupid situations or trying to take on too many enemies because you're getting a little bit too confident, because you've had 10 runs. Why wouldn't you be confident? You understand how the game works, but it kind of lulls you into that a little bit of a false sense of security in giving you kind of too much confidence almost, as I'm kind of doing right now, and just getting a bit battered. So here we go, we're up to a nice almost 4,500 score. You'll see that my current best, which pops up at the start of each run and is shown on the leaderboard, was about 10,000. It'd be nice if I could do a little bit more than that. But actually that score came at a very... I'd probably been playing maybe for an afternoon, little sessions. And as I say, that was probably my 2nd or 3rd run. But I'd probably been playing the game for about, an hour, perhaps, over maybe a 2.5 hour period. So, get that momentum-based dodging. Maybe I'll just go to the gate or the door and not do anything, just to show you a little bit of exactly what's happening. I'll give my kind of final thoughts on the game, I suppose. As I said, this isn't a review. I know the developers, it wouldn't be fair, but I really enjoy this lo-fi aesthetic, echoing the thoughts that I had from the beta. It's really nice. It's very simple. It's easy to understand. You're blue. You shoot the gold enemies, the brownish enemies. You're flying through space. Nice particle effects on everything. The soundtrack, the way that it builds, the way that it occasionally falls based on the time, based on the score, how well you're doing, is very nice. It fits perfectly with the gameplay loop. And that gameplay loop is great. It's really gripping. It keeps you coming back. It's so easy just to jump straight into another run. Look at the camera. Engage with your audience. Get hit by a rogue bullet. Try not to do that. Can if you want. Become the best streaming player, I suppose. This is awful, isn't it? This is absolutely awful. Right, I need to just kind of do one. Yeah, they fly into you too. Go back to your ship, knob. So we're booting the time down. We're seeing how well we can do. Yep, so I like the aesthetic. I love the soundtrack. The gameplay loop is it's really good. It's very addictive. Whether you are looking to help uncover this story, progress to see what comes next, or you're just looking to kind of chase high scores and kind of play the game a bit more competitively for kind of that leaderboard positioning, just to say that you're the best at Cycle 28, then, oh, there's a boss. Then it's kind of got those two different elements, you know, both baked into exactly the same kind of gameplay loop. You don't need to do anything different in either of them, really. But, you know, it kind of... Woo! That's... Oh, my God, I'm really not playing very well. What is this, my 5th or 6th run through? Oh, we'll leave it there for today. Maybe I'll do another run. I'll record when I play. And if I get a good run on... Whether that's, you know, a good run in terms of score or a good run in terms of the story progression, maybe I'll post another follow-up video to give you a little bit of that. But for now, I'm Ben. I'm here for Out of Lives. Remember, go to outoflives.net to look at other videos, listen to podcasts, and read opinion articles on, you know, games, movies, entertainment. You can also find us at our YouTube page, which is just Out of Lives. And go and support Pillbug Interactive. This game costs like £3.50 currently. I think it's £3.99 normally. It's the cost of maybe 2 coffees. Rather than going out for a coffee and buying something atrocious from someone who doesn't pay tax, stay at home, make yourself a coffee. See? Stay at home, make coffee, and play the game instead. Bye! Bye. Bye. Ah!